James Carville knew how to win, and he blamed the Democratic losses this November 2nd on stupid wokeness, to which AOC fired back that wokeness is a term almost exclusively used by older people these days. So that should tell you all you need to know. What? This is a term folks like you brought out very recently and had been proudly displaying at every march since. Just last year, The Guardian declared woke the word of our era. I guess they didn't get the memo from the Mean Girls Club. We don't use that emoji anymore. Woke, please. We say fetch now.
Welcome to today's deep dive, where we're unpacking the ongoing clash between Bill Maher and AOC, two political powerhouses, but with wildly different takes on the future of the Democratic Party. As Maher pushes back on the rise of wokeism, AOC doubles down, refusing to let go. It's a battle of ideologies that's sparking major debate across the nation. Stick around as we break it all down and explore where the DNC might be headed next. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more thought-provoking analysis and updates. Let's get into it.
What a great strategy, never missing an opportunity to remind voters how lame and clueless and hopelessly uncool they are, especially since those are the ones who actually vote. But okay, fine. What word would you like us to use for the plainly insane excesses of the left that are not liberalism, but something completely different? Because you can't have that word liberal from us and think it should cover things like canceling Lincoln and teaching third graders they're oppressors. That's all your new thing.
Yes, you heard that right. The way a term is thrown around like a political hot potato is what makes this entire issue so fascinating, not whether someone accepts it or not. The true narrative is how public people on all sides attempt to negotiate identities that have become far more expansive and hazy than their initial connotations. While advocates maintain that these changes only reflect shifting priorities and a more inclusive worldview, others contend that labels like woke, progressive, or liberal have been pushed so far that they now cause more confusion than clarity. In reality, what we're witnessing is a struggle over language, morals, and who gets to set the parameters of contemporary political philosophy. Additionally, when commentators intervene to draw attention to these discrepancies, they frequently show how quickly the ideological landscape is changing, sometimes more quickly than the labels intended to characterize it. And if you want to see exactly how this plays out in real time, take a look.
More pertinent question to ask about the word woke might be, why in such a short time has it gone from a rallying cry to a pejorative? If the word only made you think of rational, deserved causes like teaching a less whitewashed version of American history, AOC would still want to own it. But it's a joke because it makes you think of people who wake up offended and take orders from Twitter, and their oversensitivity has grown tiresome. That said, I would love to have AOC on this show. There's so much to admire there. I was one of her first supporters for the Green New Deal idea. But that will probably never happen because Democrats don't go anywhere these days where they're not pre-adored. And that's my last bit of advice to them. Go where the amen corner isn't. Do Fox News. Be brave. Come here. Go everywhere. Winning is about expanding the electorate.
Yes, you heard that right. Today's political landscape has shifted so dramatically that many of the figures who claim to champion liberal values are doing the opposite. Consider Bernie Sanders and AOC. They don't precisely exemplify the characteristics that characterized old liberalism, such as free speech, open discourse, and practical solutions to real-world issues, despite their claims to support progressive goals. Strangely, they don't even embody the original definition of woke, which used to refer to an awareness of actual social injustice. Since the movement has shifted its focus from tackling actual issues to satisfying a vociferous minority that seems to be offended by practically everything, the word has evolved into more of a cultural performance than a call to action. The new woke agenda is focused on controlling language and engaging in ideological conflicts over issues that most people never ever consider, rather than creating policies that could enhance the lives of working-class Americans. This is why the contemporary progressive agenda seems so disconnected from the demands of common people, as Maher notes. Maher has been publicly inviting Democrats to his show for months in order to have an open conversation, but they continue to decline. Why? Maher doesn't hesitate to confront them. Yes, he is a Democrat, but he is the type who appreciates challenging questions and critical thinking, which is unsettling to today's political elite. They are aware that their meticulously constructed narratives will be instantly undermined if they have a conversation with Maher. They stay away from him because of this. Nowadays, it appears that the Democratic Party is more concerned with political spectacle than with finding practical solutions. They are preoccupied with satisfying a small portion of the far left rather than addressing the common concerns of voters. But here's the reality. You can't win elections in the Rust Belt with microaggressions. Take a look at this.
You can give the people all the goodies Joe Manchin will allow, and it doesn't seem to buy their love. Why? Why is the party that supports so many issues that benefit the middle class still considered out of touch by 62% of Americans? In plain English, nobody likes a snob. Hillary Clinton didn't have anyone on rural research or outreach when she ran in 2016 until the race tightened just before the election. Then they hired one. And where was his office? Brooklyn. True story. Politics is local, not locally sourced. It's not artisan. It's art and stand. Microaggression culture doesn't play in the Rust Belt. If a staffer hands you a speech that says menstruating people instead of women, don't say that. Say women. Don't put anyone fresh out of college in charge of the campaign. They've been given participation trophies their whole life. They don't know how to win.
Yes, you heard that right. Political parties, particularly the DNC, have undoubtedly been navigating some really difficult waters in recent years. However, Bill Maher isn't holding back when he exposes the fundamental errors that led to their defeat in the most recent elections. What's the best part? He accomplishes this with his trademark mix of directness and humor. According to Maher, the problem stems from the DNC's drastic reinterpretation of fundamental ideas, especially gender. Maher contends that the party effectively obliterated the idea of womanhood, rather than having an honest conversation about inclusivity. Words like menstruating people and birthing people have taken the place of the once common straightforward noun, woman. Many common Americans are perplexed by this position and question whether the political class has lost any sense of reality. And there's the whole discussion about education. The emphasis on equity and inclusivity has produced a generation that is more concerned with everyone's happiness than with real success. The focus has switched from perseverance and hard effort to participation awards and groupthink. Maher contends that this kind of thinking has permeated politics, activism, and the workplace in addition to the classroom. People are being hired based on their characteristics rather than their abilities, as a result of hiring processes that increasingly value demographic boxes over true quality. Voters take notice when that occurs. The DNC's emphasis on identity politics at the expense of expertise and experience has caused a significant rift with the people they purport to represent. Here's where things get even more intriguing. Maher highlights how the DNC has been so preoccupied with foreign affairs that they have overlooked domestic issues impacting American people. While they are protesting for concerns overseas and bringing attention to distant people, what about internal problems like housing, employment, and living expenses? Crickets. Consider a massive spending plan that was rejected by the Democrats due to a lack of adequate climate change provisions. They rejected an agreement that may have offered genuine assistance because it didn't satisfy all of their ideological demands, rather than addressing pressing issues like deteriorating infrastructure or poverty throughout the city. Maher makes a very clear argument when he says that political pragmatism is about making concessions. The Democrats might have used the money to address urgent problems before focusing on their climate agenda. However, the American people are being left behind as ideological purity has surpassed pragmatism in the current environment. Voters see it, and they're not impressed.
And then there's abortion. A difficult issue for the Democrats to lose on, but they're trying. For decades, liberals have said if only men could get pregnant, this wouldn't even be an issue. And abortion rights are women's rights. Well, that's wrong now. Or as the kids say, hold up. When the wokey end of the progressive spectrum talks about abortion now, they shy away from that word, women, and prefer terms like birthing people or people who menstruate, because somewhere there's a trans man who's pregnant, and I say good for him, and I'll be looking for his story somewhere in a future issue of Ripley's Believe It or Not.
As we wrap up today's deep dive into the cultural and political landscape, it's clear that the conversation surrounding identity, ideology, and political correctness isn't slowing down anytime soon. If there is one thing we can learn from the current discussions, it is that reasonable conversation, Respect for opposing viewpoints and a solid awareness of reality should always be at the heart of every philosophy. The gap only widens when beliefs are motivated by performance or extreme ideology rather than by reality. The argument that real development should take precedence above ideological posturing in politics is becoming more and more popular. After all, discussion, diversity of opinion, and ideas that actually solve the problems of common people are what make a democracy flourish. What does all of this imply for the future, then? It indicates that we are going through a period of profound change. The language we employ, the narratives we create, and the way we interact with political problems must all change to foster unity rather than divide. The way forward will require accountability, openness, and a little humility from all sides, whether that means reevaluating where we stand on scientific truths, tackling real-world issues, or just learning to listen to voices across the aisle. Now, if you found today's discussion thought-provoking and engaging, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you don't miss out on future videos where we break down the latest issues with honesty, clarity, and a bit of humor. Let's keep this conversation going, stay informed, and navigate the complexities of today's world together. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.